Top interview question answers on Core Java. 1. Why is Java a platform-independent language? Java language was developed in such a way that it does not depend on any hardware or software due to the fact that the compiler compiles the code and then converts it to platform-independent bytecode which can be run on multiple systems. The only condition to run that bytecode is for the machine to have a runtime environment, JRE, installed in it. 2. Why is Java not a pure object-oriented language? Java supports primitive data types, byte, boolean, char, short, int, float, long, and double, and hence it is not a pure object-oriented language. 3. Can Java be said to be the complete object-oriented programming language? It is not wrong if we claim that Java is the complete object-oriented programming language, because everything in Java is under the classes, and we can access that by creating the objects. But also if we say that Java is not a completely object-oriented programming language because it has the support of primitive data types like int, float, char, boolean, double, etc. Now for the question, is Java a completely object-oriented programming language? We can say that Java is not a pure object-oriented programming language because it has direct access to primitive data types, and these primitive data types don't directly belong to the integer classes. 4. How is Java different from C++? C++ is only a compiled language, whereas Java is compiled as well as an interpreted language. Java programs are machine-independent whereas a C++ program can run only in the machine in which it is compiled. C++ allows users to use pointers in the program, whereas Java does not allow it. Java internally uses pointers. C++ supports the concept of multiple inheritances whereas Java does not support this. And it is due to avoiding the complexity of name ambiguity that causes the diamond problem. 5. Pointers are used in C/C++. Why does Java not make use of pointers? Pointers are quite complicated and unsafe to use by beginner programmers. Java focuses on code simplicity, and the usage of pointers can make it challenging. Pointer utilization can also cause potential errors. Moreover, security is also compromised if pointers are used because the users can directly access memory with the help of pointers. Thus, a certain level of abstraction is furnished by not including pointers in Java. Moreover, the usage of pointers can make the procedure of garbage collection quite slow and erroneous. Java makes use of references as these cannot be manipulated, unlike pointers. 6. What are the default values assigned to variables and instances in Java? There are no default values assigned to the variables in Java. We need to initialize the value before using it. Otherwise, it will throw a compilation error of variable might not be initialized. But for instance, if we create the object, then the default value will be initialized by the default constructor depending on the data type. If it is a reference, then it will be assigned to null. If it is numeric, then it will assign to 0. If it is a boolean, then it will be assigned to false, etc. 7. How is an infinite loop declared in Java? Infinite loops are those loops that run infinitely without any breaking conditions. Some examples of consciously declaring infinite loop is using for loop, for winky face, // business logic, / any break logic, using while loop, while, true, / business logic, / any break logic, using do while loop, do, / business logic, / any break logic, while, true. 8. Explain the use of final keyword in variable, method and class. In Java, the final keyword is used as defining something as constant/final and represents the non-access modifier, final variable. When a variable is declared as final in Java, the value can't be modified once it has been assigned. If any value has not been assigned to that variable, then it can be assigned only by the constructor of the class. Final method. A method declared as final cannot be overridden by its children's classes. A constructor cannot be marked as final because whenever a class is inherited, the constructors are not inherited. Hence, marking it final does not make sense. Java throws compilation error saying modifier final not allowed here. Final class. No classes can be inherited from the class declared as final. But that final class can extend other classes for its usage. 9. Is it possible that the finally block will not be executed? If yes, then list the case. Yes. It is possible that the finally block will not be executed. The cases are Suppose we use system.exit in the above statement. If there are fatal errors like stack overflow, memory access error, etc. 10. Can the static methods be overloaded? Yes. There can be two or more static methods in a class with the same name but differing input parameters. 11. Why is the main method static in Java? The main method is always static because static members are those methods that belong to the classes, not to an individual object. So, if the main method will not be static, then for every object, it is available. And that is not acceptable by JVM. JVM calls the main method based on the class name itself, not by creating the object. Because there must be only one main method in the Java program as the execution starts from the main method. So, for this reason the main method is static. 12. Can the static methods be overridden? No. Declaration of static methods having the same signature can be done in the subclass, but runtime polymorphism cannot take place in such cases. Overriding or dynamic polymorphism occurs during the runtime, but the static methods are loaded and looked up at the compile time statically. Hence, these methods cannot be overridden. 13. Difference between static methods, static variables, and static classes in Java. Static methods and static variables are those methods and variables that belong to the class of the Java program, not to the object of the class. This gets memory where the class is loaded. And these can directly be called with the help of class names. For example, we have used mathematical functions in the Java program like max, min, sqrt, pow, etc. And if we notice that, then we will find that we call it directly with the class name. Like math.max, math.min, etc. So that is a static method. And similarly static variables we have used like length for the array to get the length. So that is the static method. Static classes. A class in the Java program cannot be static except if it is the inner class. If it is an inner static class, then it exactly works like other static members of the class. 14. What is the main objective of garbage collection? The main objective of this process is to free up the memory space occupied by the unnecessary and unreachable objects during the Java program execution by deleting those unreachable objects. This ensures that the memory resource is used efficiently, but it provides no guarantee that there would be sufficient memory for the program execution. 15. What is a class loader? Java class loader is the program that belongs to JRE, Java Runtime Environment. The task of class loader is to load the required classes and interfaces to the JVM when required. Example: to get input from the console, we require the scanner class. And the scanner class is loaded by the class loader. 16. What part of memory, stack or heap, is cleaned in garbage collection process? Heap. 17. What is a comparator in Java? Consider the example where we have an array list of employees like id, iname, salary, etc. Now if we want to sort this list of employees based on the names of employees, then that is not possible to sort using the collections.sort method. We need to provide something to the sort function depending on what values we have to perform sorting. Then in that case a comparator is used. Comparator is the interface in Java that contains the compare method. And by overloading the compare method, we can define that on what basis we need to compare the values. 18. In Java, static as well as private method overriding is possible. Comment on the statement. The statement in the context is false. The static methods have no relevance with the objects, and these methods are of the class level. In the case of a child class, a static method with a method signature exactly like that of the parent class can exist without even throwing any compilation error. The phenomenon mentioned here is popularly known as method hiding, and overriding is certainly not possible. Private method overriding is unimaginable because the visibility of the private method is restricted to the parent class only. As a result, only hiding can be facilitated and not overriding. 19. What makes a hash set different from a tree set? Although both hash set and tree set are not synchronized and ensure that duplicates are not present, there are certain properties that distinguish a hash set from a tree set. Implementation. For a hash set, the hash table is utilized for storing the elements in an unordered manner. However, treeset makes use of the red-black tree to store the elements in a sorted manner. Complexity/performance. For adding, retrieving, and deleting elements, the time amortized complexity is O(1) for a hash set. The time complexity for performing the same operations is a bit higher for tree set and is equal to O log n. Overall, the performance of hash set is faster in comparison to tree set. Methods, hash code, and equals are the methods utilized by HashSet for making comparisons between the objects. Conversely, compare_to and compare methods are utilized by TreeSet to facilitate object comparisons. Objects type, heterogeneous and null objects can be stored with the help of HashSet. In the case of a TreeSet, runtime exception occurs while inserting heterogeneous objects or null objects. 20. Why is the character array preferred over string for storing confidential information? In Java, a string is basically immutable, i.e., it cannot be modified. After its declaration, it continues to stay in the string pool as long as it is not removed in the form of garbage. In other words, a string resides in the heap section of the memory for an unregulated and unspecified time interval after string value processing is executed. As a result, vital information can be stolen for pursuing harmful activities by hackers if a memory dump is illegally accessed by them. Such risks can be eliminated by using mutable objects or structures like character arrays for storing any variable. After the work of the character array variable is done, the variable can be configured to blank at the same instant. Consequently, it helps in saving heap memory and also gives no chance to the hackers to extract vital data. 21. What do we get in the JDK file? JDK. For making Java programs, we need some tools that are provided by JDK, Java Development Kit. JDK is the package that contains various tools, compiler, Java runtime environment, etc. JRE. To execute the Java program, we need an environment. Java runtime environment, JRE, contains a library of Java classes plus JVM. What are Java classes? It contains some predefined methods that help Java programs to use that feature, build and execute. For example, there is a system class in Java that contains the printStream method, and with the help of this, we can print something on the console. JVM, Java Virtual Machine, JVM is a part of JRE that executes the Java program at the end. Actually, it is part of JRE, but it is software that converts bytecode into machine executable code to execute on hardware. 22. What is the difference between the program and the process? A program can be defined as a line of code written in order to accomplish a particular task, whereas the process can be defined as the programs which are under execution. A program doesn't execute directly by the CPU. First, the resources are allocated to the program, and when it is ready for execution, then it is a process. 23. Which among string or string buffer should be preferred when there are a lot of updates required to be done in the data? String buffer is mutable and dynamic in nature, whereas string is immutable. Every updation/modification of string creates a new string, thereby overloading the string pool with unnecessary objects. Hence, in the cases of a lot of updates, it is always preferred to use string buffer as it will reduce the overhead of the creation of multiple string objects in the string pool. 24. What happens if the static modifier is not included in the main method signature in Java? There wouldn't be any compilation error. But then the program is run, since the JVM can't map the main method signature, the code throws no such method error at the runtime. 25. Can we make the main thread a daemon thread? In Java multithreading, the main threads are always non-daemon threads. And there is no way we can change the nature of the non-daemon thread to the daemon thread. 26. What happens if there are multiple main methods inside one class in Java? The program can't compile as the compiler says that the method has been already defined inside the class. 27. How do exceptions affect the program if it doesn't handle them? Exceptions are runtime errors. Suppose we are making an Android application with Java. And it all works fine, but there is an exceptional case when the application tries to get the file from storage and the file doesn't exist. This is the case of exception in Java. And if this case is not handled properly, then the application will crash. This will be a bad experience for users. This is the type of error that cannot be controlled by the programmer. But programmers can take some steps to avoid this so that the application won't crash. The proper action can be taken at this step. 28. Is it mandatory for a catch block to be followed after a try block? No, it is not necessary for a catch block to be present after a try block. A try block should be followed either by a catch block or by a finally block. If the exception's likelihood is more, then they should be declared using the throws clause of the method. 29. What could be the trade-off between the usage of an unordered array versus the usage of an ordered array? The main advantage of having an ordered array is the reduced search time complexity of O log n, whereas the time complexity in an unordered array is O n. The main drawback of the ordered array is its increased insertion time, which is O(n), due to the fact that its element has to reorder to maintain the order of array during every insertion, whereas the time complexity in the unordered array is only O(1). Considering the above two key points and depending on what kind of scenario a developer requires, the appropriate data structure can be used for implementation. 30. Is it possible to import the same class or package twice in Java, and what happens to it during runtime? It is possible to import a class or package more than once. However, it is redundant because the JVM internally loads the package or class only once. 31. In case a package has sub-packages, will it suffice to import only the main package? E.g., does importing of .myMainPackage** also import .myMainPackage.mySubPackage**? This is a big no. We need to understand that the importing of the subpackages of a package needs to be done explicitly. Importing the parent package only results in the import of the classes within it and not the contents of its child/subpackages. 32. Will the finally block be executed if the code system.exit 0 is written at the end of try block? No. The control of the program post system.exit 0 is immediately gone and the program gets terminated, which is why the finally block never gets executed. 33. What do you understand by marker interfaces in Java? Marker interfaces, also known as tagging interfaces, are those interfaces that have no methods and constants defined in them. They are there for helping the compiler and JVM to get runtime-related information regarding the objects. 34. Why is it said that the length method of string class doesn't return accurate results? The length method returns the number of Unicode units of the string. Let's understand what Unicode units are and what is the confusion below. We know that Java uses UTF-16 for string representation. With this Unicode, we need to understand the below two Unicode-related terms. Code point. This represents an integer denoting a character in the code space. Code unit. This is a bit sequence used for encoding the code points. In order to do this, one or more units might be required for representing a code point. Under the UTF-16 scheme, the code points were divided logically into 17 planes, and the first plane was called the Basic Multilingual Plane, BMP. The BMP has classic characters U+0000 to U+FFFF. The rest of the characters U+10,000 to U+10FFFF were termed as the supplementary characters as they were contained in the remaining planes. The code points from the first plane are encoded using one 16-bit code unit. The code points from the remaining planes are encoded using two code units. Now if a string contains supplementary characters, the length function would count that as 2 units and the result of the length function would not be as per what is expected. In other words, if there is one supplementary character of 2 units, the length of that single character is considered to be 2. Notice the inaccuracy here? As per the Java documentation, it is expected, but as per the real logic, it is inaccurate. 35. What is the best way to inject dependency? Also, state the reason. There is no foundation for using a particular dependency injection, but the recommended approach is. Setters are mostly recommended for optional dependencies injection, and constructor arguments are recommended for mandatory ones. This is because constructor injection enables the injection of values into immutable fields and enables reading them more easily. 36. How we can set the Spring Bean scope. And what supported scopes does it have? A scope can be set by an annotation such as the @scope annotation or the scope attribute in an XML configuration file. Spring Bean supports the following 5 scopes: singleton, prototype, request, session, global session. 37. What are the different categories of Java design patterns? Java design patterns are categorized into the following different types, and those are also further categorized as structural patterns, adapter, bridge, filter, composite, decorator, facade, flyweight, proxy, behavioral patterns, interpreter, template method/pattern, chain of responsibility, command pattern, iterator pattern, strategy pattern, visitor pattern, J2EE patterns, MVC pattern, data access object pattern, front controller pattern, intercepting filter pattern, transfer object pattern, creational patterns, factory method/template, abstract factory, builder, prototype, singleton,